Chapter 963, Problem with Intelligence. According to what Leonard knew, amongst the major noble families of the Fourth Epic's Tudor Empire, the Abraham family was ranked first. It was even stronger than the Ammon family, who had the blasphemer. Of course, he couldn't be certain if the Ammon family didn't have any members, that it was all filled with the Son of God's avatars. Miss Magician is actually an important member of the Abraham family. Everyone here isn't to be trifled with. Is this what's called a gathering of protagonists? Leonard first sighed before he made a self-deprecating comment. Derek didn't say a word, nor did he make any connections. He seriously listened to Mr. World's description, as well as the conversation between the two ladies, the magician and the hermit, before keeping them to heart. To him, the other members were in the outside world. Regardless of what happened, it had little to do with him or the City of Silver. Only matters regarding the King of Angels was something to be concerned about. After all, be it the Angel of Fate Ouroboros, the Dark Angel Sasrir, and Red Angel Medici, they had left traces around the City of Silver. As for the Angel of Time, Ammon, he had personally visited it before, bringing about inexplicable horror. After everyone quietened down, Derek couldn't help but consider certain matters. Any mention of it will be known. How should I inform the chief about such matters? Or is it fine not saying it for the time being? I'll just mention that Ammon is a son of the Creator, that he has another brother who's of the same pathway as the Dragon of Imagination. If the City of Silver were to encounter an overwhelming disaster, would Adam be able to hear it if I said his name? Can he enter the forsaken land of the gods? With this in mind, Derek instantly felt somewhat ashamed. This was because, in such situations, the honorific name he should chant was Mr. Fool S. At this moment, the world spoke again. Although War Angel Medici has long perished, he isn't completely dead. The soul he left behind has fused with the souls of the ancestors of the two major families of Sauron and Einhorn, forming an evil spirit. During the death of Nsi Zangwill, there were traces of its appearance. Klein had specially brought up this point to firstly pass this information to the Church of Evernight via Leonard. Secondly, it was to remind the hanged man to take note. After all, he had been to Banzi twice, possibly embroiling himself with the Red Angel evil spirit's fate. That evil spirit was War Angel Medici. While Leonard was feeling alarmed, he was taken aback. He had just guessed that Adam wasn't the only bigwig who had been present. Later, setting off from the titles of War Angel and Angel of Imagination, he suspected that the evil spirit was a king of angels in its former life. And such an evil spirit had been sent to the underworld without putting up any resistance under the influence of the luck siphon charm. Old man's level is higher than I previously imagined. Yes, the evil spirit must have been weakened by Adam, and perhaps even by Mr. Fool before Ma'am Dolly and I arrived. Otherwise, it's not an enemy we could have handled. Right, what was Adam doing back then? There wasn't any sign of him during the entire battle. Could it be that there was another figure at the level of a king of angels holding back Adam? Leonard felt tumultuous waves swishing through his heart as he forgot to observe the reactions of the other members. War Angel Medici, he perished and became an evil spirit. Banzi was the place his descendants lived. He was one of the founders of Rose Redemption. Alger quickly linked up the pieces of information and learned many new things. That mural I saw in the Banzi Harbor Telegraph office must have been drawn by that evil spirit. The World Jayman Sparrow had got me to head to Banzi Harbor to search for traces in order to grasp that terrifying evil spirit's location. It was to prevent his subsequent plans from being disrupted. Thankfully, I didn't destroy that mural. Otherwise, I might have caught the notice of the evil spirit. While Alger sighed in relief, he felt increasingly alert. He planned on getting the Blue Avenger to leave Banzi Harbor and head for the northern front of the Sanya Sea to investigate the matter Mr. Fool had previously given him. Audrey, Katlia, and the other members listened attentively as they kept it in mind without making too many connections. This was because the matter the world was describing contained information that mostly consisted of key and rich points. And lacking the additional experiences and knowledge, they were unable to expand on the matter. After sharing the information that everyone needed to take note of, the world chuckled hoarsely. That's about it. After a brief silence, Emlyn straightened his back and looked ahead. An important figure from my kind will arrive in Backland, and a meeting with me has been arranged. After a pause and seeing how no one responded, he cleared his throat and asked, "How should I deal with him?" Him, another angel. Leonard felt numb as he noticed something. Mr. Moon had mentioned the concept of his kind, and he had red eyes. Leonard was taken aback as he thought to himself, "He's a sanguine." Sanguine? Don't tell me he's Emlyn White from the Harvest Church. He had been close to Klein's identity as a detective. Leonard couldn't help but look at the Moon's side profile and figure a few more times. The more Leonard looked at him, the more familiar he appeared. He was almost certain. Without any doubts, Emlyn noticed the star sizing him up, just as Audrey was surprised and excited to confirm that Mr. Star had suddenly realized he knew Mr. Moon. "Did I say something wrong?" That fellow, the Star, looks somewhat astonished. "He knows me in the real world? Do I know him?" A series of thoughts flashed through Emlyn's mind as he subconsciously sniffed, trying to catch the scent of the new member beside him. However, the gray fog ensured that he failed. As he surveyed the area and waited for the hanged man, the hermit, and the world to provide him with an analysis and suggestion, he tried hard to recall if he had met someone like the Star. Gradually, he felt a sense of familiarity, but he couldn't recall who it was due to the superficial impression the person left on him. At this point, Audrey recalled another problem. Mr. World and Mr. Star know each other, and Mr. Star knows Mr. Moon. Then, does Mr. World know Mr. Moon? She subconsciously sized up the person at the lower end of the long bronze table, but she failed to read anything of use from the World Jam and Sparrow. As for Alger, he turned to look at the Moon after a few seconds of thought. He said with some deliberation, "Mr. Fool just mentioned that the times are changing. Although the important members of the Sanguine might not know of the ins and outs, at their level, they will more or less sense something and make preparations. The reason that this important figure wishes to meet you is both a probing action and surveillance. You just need to act as you usually do, but there will subsequently be some tests and missions. As I imagined, a second test and mission will begin. I wonder what revelation the ancestor has given." Emlyn nodded and said to the hanged man, "Thank you." With the question answered, Fors, who had been holding back all this while, finally spoke. "Mr. Moon, the intelligence you gave me regarding the abandoned ancient castle was highly problematic. There were 2 ancient wraiths, but in the underground area was a door. Sealed behind the door is a powerful corruptive power. As long as one enters the region where the ancient wraiths are, they will be corrupted." This. Emlyn frowned slightly. He wasn't enraged, and he instead felt that her description was completely right. If the person who had provided the intelligence knew that there were 2 ancient wraiths, he wouldn't have ignored that door. As a cultured and noble sanguine, Emlyn never wished for anyone to incur any losses or harm because of his mistakes or neglect. He was rather perturbed by this as he thought and solemnly said, "I will investigate the source and provide you with an answer." As Fors had returned safely, she didn't mind it too much. She tersely answered, indicating that she was awaiting the outcome. As for being saved by Mr. Fool, with it happening once a month or even twice a month, she had already lost count. She was prepared to do anything Mr. Fool instructed her to do in the future. After they finished their conversation, Audrey was somewhat concerned. She asked out of curiosity, "Do you know what brought about that corruptive force?" Fors shook her head. "I don't know." With Mr. Fool not sharing any information, and how she didn't have any Roselle diary entries to exchange for the answer to the card of blasphemy, Audrey retracted her gaze and attentively listened to the conversation of the other members. After a while, the learning segment came to an end as the Tarot Club drew to a close. The members stood up and bowed at the existence at the end of the long bronze table to bid him farewell. This time, Leonard didn't appear too slow. The dark red light dissipated as he returned to the real world. In front of him was a red glove he hadn't worn. At this moment, a slightly aged voice suddenly sounded in his mind. "Whose dream did you enter a moment ago?" "Old man has woken up." Leonard was first delighted, before he heaved a sigh of relief. He didn't immediately answer Pallas Zarost, as he deliberated over an answer. Say, it is possible that, at certain times, Dwayne Dance is Isaac Eggers who's disguised using some particular item. After learning that Dwayne Dance was a shared identity, he began doubting Old Man's original theory. This was because this parasite had came to a conclusion based on the different appearances and auras of Isaac Eggers and Dwayne Dance. Furthermore, not every one of Mr. Fool's blessed looked identical to Dwayne Dance, nor were every one of them beyonders of the seer pathway. Therefore, since a shared identity was needed, it meant that they wielded a mystical item or sealed artifact that allowed them to transform into someone else. Together with the ancient aura of being a blessed causing some interference, it wasn't impossible for an angel to make an error in judgment. Pallas Zarost fell silent for 2 seconds before saying, "You reminded me. Isaac Eggers does have a mask that allows him to transform into anyone.